This is a Pubcast Shot. I'm John Loomer. Do not do what I tell you to do. Let's go. Now, I know this sounds a little crazy, but let me explain. I do not want you to reflexively adopt every recommendation that I make. I'll have people who come to me frustrated. They'll say, I know you said not to bother with detailed targeting, so I haven't tried it. Or, you said to limit the number of ad sets, so I'm only using one. Taking this approach is not what I want at all. I want to give you enough information so that you can make your own decisions. So let me explain. My entire goal with my content, whether it's my podcast or blog or videos, is to help you understand how things work. This is the foundation for everything else. It's all the things that are most easily confused. So I'll tell you about all of the new features and what Meta says they do. I'll share my tests and results and what I've learned. I'll break down Meta's own best practices to help clarify what Meta wants you to do. And where there's uncertainty, I make educated guesses by connecting the dots of what we know to make sense of what we don't know. Now, I do believe there's a general approach and philosophy that are ideal. I promote a simplified approach to advertising, and there are lots of reasons for that. It's partly because complexity is often unnecessary and can even make results worse. And based on the way things work now, that complexity often doesn't make any sense. But a simplified approach also helps isolate what is working and what isn't. The bottom line with the recommendations that I make is that there are always exceptions. There are very few universal rules, if any. Yes, I think that you should limit your number of ad sets and can often get away with using only one in a campaign. But there are exceptions when it may be necessary or even beneficial to use multiple. Yes, I have serious doubts that targeting inputs like detailed targeting and lookalikes do much of anything when optimizing for conversions. They're only used as suggestions, and my tests have shown that they're often ignored. The algorithm is going to reach the people it wants to reach. But if you've found good results with those inputs, great. Now, maybe it's correlation and not causation, or maybe you're experiencing an exception that I hadn't considered. If I reach my goal, I will help you gain a much deeper understanding of how things work. And when that happens, you don't need my guidelines. You don't need my recommendations. They may be a starting point, but you can quickly sort out whether you're dealing with exceptions. Once you know how things work and test things yourself, you can start putting together your own guidelines. They may not even be the same as mine. And you know what? That's great. Whether you're listening to me or another experienced advertiser, use our advice as a starting point. I worry when people come to me with this new strategy that they've learned from someone else. They don't just use it as inspiration. They copy it step by step and word for word. They take it as gospel. And that's when you get into trouble. By doing this, you assume every brick to that foundation is strong. But it may not be. There may be some guesses and inaccuracies in that approach. And if you don't question it and apply what you know, you're only going to make mistakes. So here's the bottom of the glass. Your goal as an advertiser should be to fully understand how everything works. And let me be clear, this goal may never be realized. It's my entire focus. And there are still things about meta advertising that are complete mysteries to me. But when you have deep knowledge about how most of these things work, it can be extremely valuable when you run into something that you don't understand. You can then piece the things together that you do understand to make sense of what is missing. It's also very easy to spot flawed conspiracy theories related to meta advertising, and I see lots of those all the time. Do not take what I or anyone else says as gospel and copy it word for word, step by step. If you've determined that I've earned your trust, use it as a starting point. But ultimately, you need to determine the best approach for you and your situation. You need to run your own tests, and you need to define your own best practices. When you approach building processes based on knowledge and experience rather than on what someone else said, you're better able to explain yourself and make adjustments when things don't work the way you expect. And that is true knowledge. Do you have a podcast? Are you looking for guests? Do you think that, I don't know, maybe I would be a good guest for your show? We should talk. So while I don't have guests on my show these days, because really this is about streamlining this show as much as possible to make it as easy as I can, one of my favorite things is to be a guest on other people's show. My ideal situation isn't the most famous, most popular, although that would be nice too. It's the host is someone who has already been reading my stuff, has been listening to the pubcast, maybe watching my videos, and so fully aware of my history, so it's not a matter of me introducing myself to you again. Because a lot of times when we talk about interviewing marketers, there's an assumption about the certain things that people believe. And I don't think I'm your typical marketer. I'm a bit of an accidental marketer that does things a little bit differently. If you kind of resonate with that and you think I'd be good for your show, reach out. Let's talk. Maybe it's a fit, maybe not. Send me an email at me@johnloomer.com. Thanks again for joining me today. Until next time, do awesome things. I'm out.